Hey guys, my name is Lily and today I want to give you a crash course in gardening. Stay tuned. A lot of people say, I cannot garden, I don't have a green thumb. If I plant something it will die anyway, so why bother? Now let me tell you this. Gardening is very easy, okay? There's only one thing that you need besides seeds and plants and water. You need good gardening soil. That's the most important thing. I have seen a couple of people, they tried to remove the grass off their lawns and grow crops there, and they failed because the soil of lawns is really bad. The soil of lawns is deprived in nutrients, in nitrogen, in almost about everything. But you can still grow vegetables on lawns if you just take a couple of sacks of really good gardening soil. So before the shops in Austria closed down, I went to the hardware store and they have this gardening compartment, and there I got a couple of these really good packs of gardening soil. So soil, humus in fact, is the most important thing. Without this humus, even I couldn't garden. Nobody could garden, because if you have poor soils, there will not be any crops growing on your lawn besides grass. So if your shops haven't closed down yet, just go by a hardware store or a gardening supply store and buy good soil, and get one which is really humus rich. And with this soil you can grow crops anywhere. It doesn't matter if you grow crops in a bucket or on your lawn or inside of a raised bed. You don't need any liquid fertilizers or pesticides, so it's better to save your money on these things because it's not needed. You just need good gardening soil. Yeah, that's the most important thing. And before all of the shops closed in Austria, I was getting different kinds of gardening soil. And now I want to make a video about gardening, the basics of gardening. And if gardening interests you further, I can recommend my second YouTube channel to you, which is called Gardening with Lily. So if you're interested, I will put a link into the description below, which leads you directly to my second gardening YouTube channel. Okay, now let's get started and I will show you around the garden. Alright, so this is my small suburban garden, and you won't believe it, but from this small garden I'm producing vegetables and fruits worth of $1,000 each year, organic, okay? So I'm not using any pesticides or liquid fertilizer, I'm just using good gardening soil. So in the first raised bed we can see some kale that I was growing last year, and it overwintered pretty well. Now this is very high in vitamin C. Here we have some chive. This is some stem celery, and over there I have Welsh onion, and this is perennial, so you're just using the greens here. Here at the back I have a row of raspberries. Now these two raised beds are empty, and in these raised beds I'm growing different kinds of things. I'm also growing mushrooms, so these are champignons. So I have some leek here, onions, and this is my greenhouse. So in here I was sowing a couple of crops, and also the last time I went to the hardware store I also bought strawberries and kohlrabi. So everything is growing well in here. This is radish. This is one crop that I can recommend to you because you will have a harvest in 4 to 6 weeks, which is pretty fast. And besides that, I would grow some lettuce because it also grows fairly fast. Okay, so these are my crops inside of the greenhouse. And yeah, what you can do is, if you have seeds, you just sow them in these little greenhouses, and then when the seeds have germinated, you can transplant them to either pots or you can directly plant them inside of your garden bed or raised bed. Okay, it's pretty easy. You just have to make sure that you always water your plants so that they don't die when it's getting hot. Alright guys, so now I want to plant some strawberries. So I've bought some soil, some humus, which is especially for strawberries and also other plants. So I'm going to fill up these pots now, and I have bought these, which are pot hangers, I believe, and I'm going to hang them here. So this way I'm not using any space inside of the raised beds, because I need a lot of space for my plants, and I rather grow some stuff outside, you know. Okay, now I'm taking 3 strawberries and plant them inside of the pot. Or maybe I just plant 2 because the pot is rather small. Okay, 2 is enough. Now this soil is great and rich in nutrients, but it doesn't have any clay content, so it doesn't hold water for a very long time, and also it dries out quickly. So you may be better off to mix this with some soil from your lawn, which has a little bit of clay content or loamy content. So that's the only thing that you have to consider when working with soils like these, because they dry out so quickly. Okay, so now with this raised bed, I have in mind that I'm going to grow some tomatoes. So tomatoes need a lot of nutrition, and that's why you have to fertilize them much, okay? So here I have bought some horse dung, and I'm also going to use some normal gardening soil. Hey! Down! Down! Over. Nein! Runter! Ah. Sit! So, Durchbücher! Durch! Ja, super! Super! Down! Down! Nein! So this raised bed is now well fertilized, but I cannot grow anything in there right now because tomatoes are really susceptible to the cold, and right now my tomato plants are only this big. So I will have to wait until May until I can plant them. Oh yeah, and this is, by the way, how my snail fence works. So I basically have installed 2 wires. These are copper wires, and they run around the raised bed in parallel, so they do not touch each other, okay? And then here I have connected those wires to a 9-volt battery, and every time a slug or snail tries to cross this barrier, these wires, it will get a small electrical shock. Okay? So this fence is working. Boom. Okay, now here I have a couple of berries planted. These are blueberries, and I also have planted some strawberries. These are 2-year-old now. This is an onion, by the way. Onion. And this is a blueberry again. Now the important thing about blueberries is that they need sour soil, okay? So they need acid soil, about 4.5 pH. That's important, otherwise they will die, okay? So usually in nature you only find blueberries inside of a forest where you have a lot of spruce or, pine tree, and they make the soil sour, and then the blueberries can grow. Okay, now here is the soil that you need for those. This is rhododendron soil. It has a low pH, and it's especially for blueberries. And you have to give them new soil every 6 months or so. So the thing that you do is you really want to remove everything from the ground. Okay. And then you add some soil to your plant. So now when it's raining, the rain will wash the acid or acidity of this soil into the deeper soil where the plant has access to it. And this is what I do twice a year. Okay, and then make sure that you make some sort of crater. So it should be lower where the stem is, so that the water collects inside of here. So adding humus to your garden bed is the fastest way how you can produce some really good crops. You can also produce some good soil with a composter like this here, but it's taking like half a year to 9 months until you get some really good soil. This is my small gardening shed. I have put in some of these shelves recently to keep everything in order. And now I'm going to need some kind of sheeting. Let me search for it. Alright, so here at this spot I want to plant some kohlrabi. Okay. Alright, so now I want to plant my lettuce. Half of it I'm going to plant inside of the greenhouse and half of it has to go outside. Okay, the lettuce is planted, and here you can see that my raspberries are already getting leaves, and when they are getting leaves it's time to water. So in wintertime you don't have to water them, but when they are getting leaves in springtime you know you have to water. Alright folks, it's the next day. So here I planted a couple of lettuce plants yesterday night. Wow, it's hot in here. Unbelievable. The radish is growing every day now. And I also want to take these outside now, because these are cabbage plants and I want to plant them outside. Alright folks, so I have built a small tunnel because I know next week it's going to be a little bit colder than this week, and it's important that you protect your young plants because they are really susceptible to the cold. Alright guys, so I really hope that this video could inspire somebody to start gardening, because gardening is really great. It's one of the best exercises that you can do if you have a lot of stress, you know. So there are some studies that show that people who garden a lot have less stress. And I believe that right now it's maybe the best thing that we can do at home. A little bit of gardening makes the time go by faster if you are in quarantine, right? Alright, so if you have a question about gardening, make sure that you put it into the comment section below. And also, if you want to learn more about gardening, then check out my second channel, which is about suburban gardening. And I really want to thank you for watching. Stay safe.